Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. I'm about to start on a new painting and it's been a while since the last time I've created one of these videos, but I'm still working. In between the last painting and this painting, I've completed about 13 other paintings about this size, about 7 by 12. And I felt like it's about time to get back into sharing videos with you as much as I can, because I have a lot to share and I have a lot that I want to talk about with this painting and with all kinds of other stuff. You can see that I have a new setup here, and because we're in a brand new place. That was one thing that kind of derailed me from the YouTube videos, was we moved not once but twice to 2 different places. The first one didn't work out so well, but it's okay. There you go. Life comes in, life kind of changes everything around, but it's okay. We get back on track once we can, basically. What I'm doing now, what I'm working on now is I'm continuing the Hunter series. I've probably done about 12. No, most of the 13 paintings that I finished since Rusalka have been the Hunter series paintings. And if you look at my website, you'll see that you'll see a bunch of them on there. They're all sold. They have done really well on my website. Many people like them. I really like doing these paintings. And what's interesting about this is, and what I'll go ahead and do is I'll bring my iPad up here where I'm going to be painting. I'm actually painting horizontal today, or for this painting. Most of them were vertical, but this composition really needed it. Let's talk about the series, the Hunter series, and what I'm trying to do with it. Well, I'll put a link in the description below, but there's a series of photographs that I got from Graphit Studio, and there was one it's called Primal Huntress. And there's a folder in there of like 350 some images. And what I'm doing is I'm randomizing the choice of those images every single painting. I'm not going through there and picking out specific ones. I did for the previous part of this series, but now what I'm doing is randomizing the pick of these photos. This is the actual photo this is the photo that I have cropped down, and I'm removing some things out of it as well in Photoshop. But I like the idea of this random choice of images for myself and having to deal with what initially I may not think as a good composition, and trying hard to pull something from an image that I normally wouldn't pick and do something more with it. Okay, finding a purpose behind these random images and making it more than what it is really what I want to do. And part of that process, part of that very important process, is I use a combination of Photoshop to take the original image, and I do crop it for a composition that I like, but I also use Photoshop and the cutout filter, the artistic filter called Cutout, to get some generalizations of shapes, color, and value in multiple different levels. So I'll do this 4 or 5 times with the image. So this is like 3 levels of value, then we go to 4 levels of value. And Photoshop, it's not an AI thing. It's been in Photoshop for decades, and it just looks at the image and it simplifies by the settings that you have. What's wonderful about this, it gives me an understanding, or a different understanding than what I would have initially, about simplifying an image in different ways. Like, I couldn't come up with these. I mean, I could come up with my own simplifications, if that's a word, but I like seeing what Photoshop does and then kind of jumping off of that in some ways. The one that really sparks my interest is the level 4 one, and I can get into deeper on actually how to do this on Photoshop if anybody's interested in it. It's a super simple process in Photoshop if you have it, of course. I pay $16 a month for the Lightroom and Photoshop Adobe plan, but I use it every single painting, not only just for composing the images, but also for processing for my website and a whole bunch of different things. Now, this is one half of the process, is getting that image together in something that is visually pleasing. At this point, that feels good. You know, I'm using my instincts, my ideas to look at this image and go, wow, I really like this flow for some reason. How important that arm is. It's kind of like, I'm not sure if this is a figure or not. I can kind of see some body parts in there. It's a little bit abstract. It's really interesting. And that's the beginning of it. Then after that, I actually go into Google. I have, for all the paintings I do, this is actually called Hunter 75, but eventually when I sell it, I'll change that number, or I change the name of the painting to something that's a little bit more closer to what I'm trying to communicate. But I make notes. I'll create a folder with all these images in there, and then on Google Drive, I'll create a Google Doc, and I ask, what is this painting about? I ask myself, you know, what's the moment or the feeling that this painting needs to be about? Why did I choose it? What do I like about it? What feeling do I want to communicate? What's the point of me spending all this time taking this image and painting it? Why am I doing that? Why am I spending all this effort? And so I'll sit with the image, I'll think about it, and I'll make a bunch of notes on why. And that is just so important. I would urge everyone to do that, to look at their imagery and then connect it with, you know, their purpose in some way, or at least create a goal for the painting. Why are you doing this? Too often we just pick an image that is like, oh, well, that's cool, and just paint it, just do a copy directly from it. And you know what? That's fine too. As long as you're working, I don't think you can do anything wrong. As long as you're painting, you're working towards something, I think that's great. Me, on the other hand, or at least in this instance, I want to communicate more. So I want to go deeper into that idea of taking the image into something more than what it is and directing it on the canvas so that I have a conversation with the viewer. And the painting itself is more like writing a book. Like, it's a language. Like, we take value, hue, saturation, drawing, composition, edges, texture, and those are the words, those are the sentences, the paragraphs that we use to build a conversation in this painting, and that's what I want to do. For this painting, what I wrote today is, and I'm going to read directly from what I wrote today. I like the simplicity of the composition. Definitely. It's almost like a graphic design look. It's very kind of in your face a bit. Big blank space, very prominent outline for the figure. It's minimal, but with dynamic body movement. I love the space on the right, the prominence of the arm inserting itself in the space as the most dominant element in this composition. It's a simple act of putting on something, but it almost looks staged in the movement, right? So this character, this person is putting on this wolf pelt. They're putting it on their body in some way, but it does look staged, like it was meant to be there, like a pause in the moment to show like an exclamation point, like they threw their arm out, exclamation points, you know, pause the video. You know, that's the part of the commercial, right? I also like that it's not totally clear on what's going on here. The figure is just a shape and confusion of fur and body. So I'm going to try and push that. So for this painting, I don't think it's about completely the figure itself. Like, I'm not trying to render chest, knee, leg, fingers, arm. I'm not trying to say figure in this. I think it's about the movement and the design the body makes. The figure can devolve into just shapes and might make a pleasing design. I want to communicate the dance between understanding and confusion within the viewer. I want the viewer to look and think, what is this? Then see the figure or parts of the figure, understand a bit more, and then back into the design of generalization, like the bounce between figure, design, that gray area between the two that makes the viewer oscillate between representational and abstraction. So that's the purpose of this painting, that gray area, to figure out how I can keep those ideas of representation and abstract design kind of together, so Anybody viewing this would kind of go, I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Ooh, but there's this. But then go back to, I'm not really sure what this is. Oh, but there's that. You know, it's a kind of a discovery that happens within there, an oscillation between two different aspects. So I really like that idea. That's the purpose of this painting. It's the first recording back into hopefully another daily recording habit, daily video habit on YouTube. I'm going to, as I've done in the past, just fast forward, or not fast forward, time lapse through this. But before I do that, what am I doing next? How do I get to there? Well, first process, and hopefully you can see this down here. I don't have a lot of space for working horizontal. I'm going to get the drawing on there. I am working on just straight Arches oil paper. Fantastic. I love it. I've actually changed. I used to gray this out with a acrylic gesso over it. Now I'm starting to enjoy just working directly on this paper, how it soaks in all the oil from the paint, dries a lot faster. It's easier to get to varnishing, or it's faster to get to varnishing after you finish a painting, things like that. So the Arches paper and then just graphite. So I'm going to draw this out, get a general drawing of the figure as close as I can. And then on the next session, I'm actually going to take what I've drawn out into Photoshop and compare that drawing with the image directly and see what corrections I need to make within the drawing. And I'm excited to show you that process. It's a process that does use technology, so if you're not into technology, I know that may be a problem for some people. But yeah, you can watch it, maybe it'll be interesting. Let's see, but let's get on to the drawing. Okay, I'm back. Now that was a pretty quick, or very quick drawing session. Honestly, I'm getting a bit lazy on this drawing right now. I generally got it in the area that I want, but I'm not spending as much time on it as I could to get the exactness that I want in a lot of this figure, in a lot of these kind of abstract shapes. I can see right away when I'm measuring that there are a lot of things that are going to be off and incorrect in a lot of ways. So if I could sit here for a lot longer and spend more time on this drawing and really measure placements and things like that, but for right now, not feeling it. I really like how this is looking. It totally looks like one of the, like maybe a splash page from a comic books, very dynamic, right? Maybe some figure is making some punch or something that needs to be really kind of prominent in the frame or something like that. So I'm liking where it's going, but I could do the drawing better. Definitely understanding that I'm being a little bit lazy there. I'm excited to show you what's going to happen on the next session for this painting, because I'm going to take this drawing that I just did, compare it exactly with the image, and show you how you can compare your drawing progress with the image to get real accurate results. It's great for someone like me that's self-taught, that doesn't have someone looking over my shoulder that is, you know, master draftsman that can tell me, oh, this is off and that is off. We can use technology to help us do that and get better at drawing. And that's the purpose of it. I want to get better at my drawing. I'm always trying to improve my drawing no matter where I'm at, even if, which I do plan on, taken this painting into a direction where all this drawing is not going to matter. Most of it will be obliterated, but I'm using this as an opportunity to improve my drawing, get some direct feedback through technology so that I can continually improve. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.